Hey, MHayashi, and please like and subscribe if you like my stuff. And yeah, so I'm not going to beat around the bush. I actually, and as you see in the title, we did. I'm recording this after the league finished, and we did go 5-0. And you know, I do think Erode definitely improves this deck, and I guess we're taking it for a spin. Other than that, this is pretty close to the 75 I've been settling. Well, that's not 75, the 60. The 70, the sideboard is very up to fluctuating, but I'm actually thinking that this is pretty much the main board. 60. I was playing around with cards like Sunset Revelry in the main and stuff, and that's mostly just because I really liked all these other cards, but there was just like an extra slot that just like there really was no other good card, and like what's it called? Restoration of Maganjo. Like it's just funny. Like that card, I used to swear by it, but it's just that the creature, the actual card, the actual creature actually gets removed all the time. So it mostly ends up being, and there's so much more enchantment removal. Like if at least the enchantment was guaranteed to not get destroyed. But anyway, I think let's just get to the games basically because. And now we're actually playing the full 8 fields just because I'm seeing Phoenix again, and one way to help keep them off kilter is to basically snipe off their red sources, and there's I'm seeing more and more decks that play relatively few basics. So anyway, oh yeah, and the sideboard, I've actually been loving Flanker. You'll probably be seeing a lot of this in the future, just because I love how it actually gives me extra life gain, and it gives me graveyard hate, and it gives me another threat, because there's some matchups where I kind of need to speed the clock up just a little bit instead of winning with Castle Ardenvale tokens, if you know what I mean. It's not the fastest card in the universe, but it sure is faster than winning with Castle Ardenvale tokens. So there's that. High Noon again because I'm seeing Phoenix make a comeback. Otherwise, temporary lockdown would probably be better. If Phoenix wasn't a part of the metagame, then temporary lockdown is arguably better anyway against prowess decks. Topple the statue because Monument, Okiba, the black-white deck is still all over the place. And honestly, I don't know what to do with the last 2 slots, but I've always liked Blast Zone in the main. So if I'm playing 8 fields in the main, and I've just been loving Fountainport too, as a conclusion I'm coming to. Just I need an engine, and this is just every time I don't draw Fountainport, and especially if I don't also have a Mazemind, I just so much wish I had it. So. Anyway, since I'm going to the full main deck 8 fields and 4 Fountainports, Castle Ardenvales, and I need 8 planes. Basically, the 2 Blast Zones that I've been loving in the main just end up squeezed out, and I know there's a limit to how bad they can be since they've been so good in the main. So here they are on the side. Okay, let's go. We're on the play. Let's go. Yeah. So 8 fields because. Seeing more like Phoenix and other type decks, and the 8 field's pretty good there. I think I do like both of these cards, but I probably should have put I don't know. There's a limit to how. Okay. Oof. Well, this is kind of the type of deck I want to test against, so probably wouldn't have put a Fountainport if I knew this was the matchup, but Fountainport is just too slow, and we can't afford to pay the life to make the tokens. What advantage to going on the draw with Candy Trail? Still doesn't make up for being on the play. Alright, well, this is prime target for Get Lost if I've ever seen one. I wonder if I should hit that. Probably not. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I should hit it, actually. No, there's a better chance. Yeah, I'll hit it at a turn if they don't play anything. We definitely don't want that giving something haste. This can make a Sunspine Lynx less than optimal. Actually, you know what? Maybe we'll put this to hand. No. Too early. My thinking here is worst case scenario, I'm going to gain this 3 life, but I don't know. Probably was a mistake. I probably should have just held up this. Okay. Alrighty. So good. Now I can double response here. Alright, we also saved 2 life from that. Okay. Yeah. And they also didn't get a basic. Yeah, so trying to do a maneuver like that is going to be important going forward. Okay. Alright, good thing we drew Get Lost. I think we have to do this. They're probably going to suspect something is up, but I don't think they have some way to protect this. So hopefully they put the map token pre-combat. Alright, let's just do this now. I'm not going to be greedy and wait for them to use the other one. Plus, they might, they might get a land and then get like something, not play a land drop this turn. Like it's just usually better to just wait for the first activation. Of course, we're going to wait 2 more minutes for them to. Okay. I guess we might as well play Fountainport. Yeah, to play around future Sunspine links, let's just do this now. It's not the most impactful utility land to hit, but since we're punished for having more. Six, seven, eight. Since life gain is still active. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I think Fountainport is so that we're definitely going to replace Last Zone. I think the most obvious swap is Flanker for Farewell. And that's one good reason to keep Flanker. Keep. Do this Candy Trail, bam. Yeah, I can't legitimately pass up cheap removal. Okay, they're even a bit mana screwed. That's always good. The time waste here is unreal. I'm going to try to use these cards that won't directly give them a land as much as possible. Okay. Okay. All right. Unless they play something better, the plan's going to be to get lost and Candy Trail. And then unfortunately, we may have to just mana ramp them after that, because all the rest of my removal gives them land. They might have kept a land light hand with the expectation. Okay, well now I'm going to feel a little less bad about mana ramping them. I gotta attack with both of them if I were them, because they could use the mana, can't they? I mean, we'll still probably settle, but it's not like... What's it over Roku? Fine. Land. I might as well hit the Roku. Mana efficient and all. Yeah, we're gonna do this so we can take minimal damage off the Sunspine. Well, by minimal damage, I mean 3, while making my land drop. I just realized I opened them up to lander tokening. Probably would have been the same thing anyway, because then I just burst light me in a turn, use one of that mana, use that. Well, I guess it comes into play tap, though. So they have access to 1 more mana than they should. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there was no keeping a low mana hand is probably the way to go for them, and there's really no way for me to play around that. Because if all my land stuff just gives them straight up card advantage. But it's playing with fire though if they didn't draw that land. Spine links. Bottom. You need to draw some actual removal. There we go. Okay. I think we're going to try to flankerize this. Unless they drop a Screaming Nemesis, in which case we erode that. Yeah. It's not that Blast Zone's bad, I just think we can do better. Or Erode for that matter. I don't know why I didn't respond to March. It's fine blanks, okay. Let's take the guaranteed, because there's no guarantee that this actually stops anything. I need to scry to a removal spell. And removal spell Ho. I'm not going to play around. Because what if they draw like a Reckless Rage or something? Plus, this comes into play tapped, and they either have to knock out a land or shuffle the Sunspine Links away. Okay, they chose not to shuffle it away. Take 1 damage. Okay. This could be risky, but I'm going to go for it. Alright, I'm chumping. And I did save myself 4 life there. Okay. Ready. I'm going to try to crank out tokens. Now that Reese is on. Truly an absurd amount of lands. I know I'm not going to gain life, but at least I can still scry. I'm not sure how good these are, given that I'm not going to gain life. That's always a good sign when they're targeting the creature. Okay. Okay, now we can create a token and sacrifice it. Should that be the play? Okay, a braid. Okay, a judgment bottom, castle top. In case they remove this. Okay. What a crazy game. Crazy. Alright, let's go. Candy Trail. Farewell. Too expensive at this point. Keep that on top. Forget what Alfonsorek is on. Yes. Okay, well, good thing we are packing. We are packing decent enough answers. At least that's the hope. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, since being able to tap out next turn is pretty dubious. You're definitely going to scry, though. Yeah, that's a good one. We could march it. And maybe we should. I mean, any little bit. No, because what if they drop, what's it called? I wonder how many lands, how many basics they have. Because I've seen these decks play as few as 2 basics. I'm gonna get greedy. So they're one of the decks that plays 2. I mean, 2 is a respectable number, unless you're a degenerate 8-field player. Yeah, I like hitting my land drops. Interesting that they play Treasure Token. We had to wait till now because if they played, what do you call it? They might suspect something's up that I don't immediately go for the kill their land, but I have to hold up Settle the Wreckage. And I guess if they duress it, okay, good. I'll tank 5, so be it. Alright, so now what I can do, if they attack with only this, is I can make a token. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I don't have 8 mana yet. Let's just do this. Okay. I mean, I do like these. I need Artifact Hate. And I need it yesteryear. I'll use Fountainport. I'm not going to get too cute. I'm just going to erode that. I'll probably tank 5. My reason being, well, if they're going to do that, big mistake. Okay. Can't do this. See how important it was that I saved that march for this. I mean, how would I have known? I've got 8 of these things. Plus, I've even got a whatever it's called. I wonder why they're not cycling through more of their hand. Do that. All right. I wonder when I'm actually going to draw. Yeah, there we go. Finally. And this is why we frickin' need the 4 topple the statues. I know it seems like, but why do we really need it? Well, this is why. We definitely... Day of Judgment, very speculative. I think Kazuli's flanker, excellent. Blast Zone, I think Blast Zone is... It's good, it's just not as good as the Demolition Fields are, given the situation of how few basics they play. Get Lost is vital because it's an early answer to their Thingamajig. The life gain on flank are also very relevant for this matchup. I love the flanker. The flanker is good. See, the problem is if this was Rest in Peace, it's too narrow for this matchup because, like, even think about it. Okiba doesn't even need anything to reanimate to be good. It's a 4/3. It's a 4/3 that also does stuff, but like you still got to deal with the 4/3. The problem with Relic and Lantern rather is that yeah, it's that ultimately we got kind of too much draw and not enough like action. Like, it is better than Rest in Peace in this matchup, but it's still just a little too narrow. But Flanker can surprise block in Okiba. It can also get in the way of Fleeting Spirit, especially if they don't have enough cards in the graveyard or white man untapped. And sure, they can always exile it, but then we get to keep our Flanker too. It's just a very solid card, very solid. And that's in addition, of course, to gaining life if we really need it, hitting our graveyard, obviously, in response to Okiba trigger. Its only sin is that it's 3 mana, so we can't break up a turn 3 Okiba on the draw. But between Erode, Get Lost, and March, we are gonna be confident that we can interact early and often enough. Okay. Well, one thing I've learned about this matchup is if they got you, but don't second guess yourself. I'm not gonna throw away a hand with perfectly good lands and spells just because. Well, there's our turn 2 interaction if we really need it. Hopefully they don't Thoughtseize us. Although I guess next turn they can't both Thoughtseize and even if they had turn 1 Thoughtseize, I would have drawn this on turn 2. And that's another reason to not just like mulligan to a hand with at least one piece removal, because if they got Thoughtseize, you may have to draw your removal on turn 2. The fact that they have discard just adds a certain element of unpredictability, but even if without discard, if you think about it, they could have like multiple Okibas. There's just... yeah. Alright, I'm gonna wait. Because of the very real possibility of Okiba. You'll love to see them having one of their basics in hand. Okiba. We have to eject Okiba. I would have used Marchstone Okiba if obviously they had ditched a Parthelion. Hyacinth Gardens. The Gardens. Okay. As imperfect as it is, this is one reason I still like Settle the Wreckage. It's just no other card can quite do that at instant speed. One of the most unique wrath effects in the game. Okay. Why didn't I play Candy Trail? Well, we never know. I know why I was planning to settle the wreckage even on just one. There's the versatility. Okay. And drop a comment if you've ever had an experience where you went blank. I know I did. Let's just say it really messed with my life. You know, I just realized actually, if I would have responded, I could have just shut the whole thing off, including getting Grief Shang back. I don't know why I thought I had an opportunity to respond once it resolved, but yeah, this card would have done nothing. No, actually, it wouldn't have, because they could have just brought another. They just would have brought Okiba back without putting Hearthelion. In fact, well, they could have only searched for one card. But yeah, they would have just got Greasefang back. I have to hold this up just in case they drop a 2-mana discard outlet plus discard Parthelion. Well, there's Erode. Erosion. No breathing. Da, 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 da. Okay. I mean, these are both pretty solid. Bottom, top. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, good, good, good. I really like this state of affairs. Because now they just not only discarded a card for nothing, but I'm going to be able to get that out of the graveyard, so they won't have access to it later. Normally I'd probably attack, but given that they're at 2 minutes on the clock, I might as well just win on time. Oh, goodness. Goodness, goodness. Okay, good. They do not have time to spare. Okay. Alright, timeout. Oh wow, I almost conceded. Oh, I almost misclick concede. That's insane. Okay, I had to cut off almost 4 minutes in the beginning, but we were on the play. We did castle, they played mountain, this, and then we played this pass, they played this, and they seem to be missing their second land drop. I don't really like Settle the Wreckage if we're, or for that matter, Farewell, if we're trying to play around, you know. Alright, looks like they've finally woken up. Well, there's our planes. Do we want to... I'll just hold up, get lost. I'm very skeptical to... Very skeptical to do anything. And I can pump out tokens. One thing I learned from a previous game is you have to take the threat of oh crap. I guess I'll just tank it all because I just realized I don't have 2 white. I mean, I do have 2 white. I don't have 2 white plus castle. Fine. Sunspine Link's gonna deal 7 damage. Or get lost and then Fountainport. Purposefully. Probably should have sacked this on my turn. Oh, ouch. Well, there's no playing around this. I guess I'm just going to take 6 damage. Ooh, wow. We just have to accept having a bad matchup in this matchup here. Yeah, if I play my cards right, they won't even be able to play Reckless Rage. I probably should have prevented that from gaining a mana. I'm not ready to blow open the floodgates just yet. Interesting. On some level, they must be. I don't know. I wasn't gonna play Settle the Wreckage anyway. Let's do this here. Ouch. Ouch. I don't know. I don't know what this means. I don't know what's going on. Okay. I couldn't have prevented them getting that burst lightning off the top. And they would have just eventually hit the Roku, so I wasn't able to prevent. Actually, I think I'm gonna Erode. There's no way I forced him to shuffle. Wow. Alright, flanker instead of farewell. And blast zone instead of Fountainport. Otherwise, there's not really much else for us to do this deck. Kind of miss not having temporary lockdown. Temporary lockdown is a very solid card. It's just Phoenix seems to be making a comeback. And High Noon is way better against Phoenix. Especially since Phoenix decks now are playing Core Steel Cutter as well. And High Noon shuts down both Phoenix and Core Steel Cutter. let's go. Keep. Yeah, this hand looks. You know, I really don't know what to do though when they keep one of these hands with like no mana, like exactly 1 mana, but they also spit out a bunch of prowess creatures because like like basically what I've determined is in that situation, if I start eroding using Settle the Wreckage, all those cards, they just kind of explode in card advantage, and it's impossible to keep up because they have so much gas in their hand. They can just play it all out. Like the better use of these cards is assuming that they already have a pretty, relatively not land heavy, but they've got a healthy amount of lands in their hand, and they basically these cards are good on the assumption they can't use all that extra mana, which we did see in the first when we faced the first red player. The problem is obviously if they keep a mana screw hand, that's not the case. This is one of the few decks where actually Fateful Absence might actually be better than Erode. I mean, the versions that don't play Legend of Roku, they probably Erode is better. Nowadays, everybody's playing Legend of Roku though. I think what happened is blue-white control kind of fell off the map for some reason. I think the main thing keeping people from playing cards like Legend of Roku was that blue-white control. Like at 4 mana, it's just a little too. I mean, it gets hit so hard by both No More Lies and Dovin's Veto. Gets completely. Okay, Day of Judgment. Since I'm on the play. Oh, I don't have to mulligan I don't have to put anything down. I don't know why I thought it was on a mulligan, but okay. Oof, I like the life gain, but there is such a thing as too much of a good thing. But I do think I need Mazemind because otherwise it's kind of hard to actually pull ahead. Play this out. I'll keep it. At the end of the day, I need to hit my land drops. If they hit me with Screaming Nemesis, I'll probably just let it hit Day of Judgment. It's pretty clear that they're trying to wait to play Screaming Nemesis and have mana to shock it. I gotta hope to call their bluff that they don't have 4 mana. I have to. Oh, I don't know. They just passed. That'd be sweet. Okay, I'll take that. Hold this up. Create a treasure token. I don't like just pot shot in 2, but I think it's a price worth paying. Don't play Kahira just yet. It's gonna get reckless raged. Just you watch. Okay, well I'm definitely doing this ahead of time. Maybe I'll just tank it, and then I'll try to do, like... I have enough mana to do 3, 3, 3. Yeah, you know what? I think it's worth tanking one of these hits. I think it is. There's just so much more value in having life gain on for the rest of the game. That also saved me 3 life. I just realized I miscalculated, but thankfully they didn't have 2 Burst Lightnings. Yeah, come on, another Day of Judgment. I guess that is kind of like a Day of Judgment, isn't it? Alright, that's really bad, but there's nothing I can do. The cat. General Roku. Oh, hopefully that's a big whiff. Oof. I don't like it. Actually have to do this. The reason why is that I have to actually get Lost the Roku, otherwise it's going to produce tokens and stuff. It's just not good. Okay, I mean, I'll take that. Love Vigilance. He's being Lizard, ouch. Okay. So free speed. Want to gain the life and then get the candy trail. I think I'm just going to play this other one too, because what if they have another lightning strike? Well, then I would have just played it in response. well, somehow, this is the thing. This player takes a long time to play, but I do think we had the makings of a win, but definitely the timeout. Alrighty, let's go. I like it. I like it. Sleep short. Dawn, Hand, Dissident. Blight 1, Surveil 1. So, from Graveyard, cast spells. This is a very fascinating card. Very, very fascinating. I hope I don't regret this, but I think I can start maze minding. Maze mind my own business. And good thing I did, because I definitely want this Mazemind Tome, that's for sure. And I have the mana to start using it, though. I really do. I'm trying to remember what Blight is. I think that they have to sacrifice a permanent or something. You can control least the battlefield if it had counters on it. I don't know what this means. Whatever it means, I have creature removal. I don't know what this means. I think I know what this means. I think this means I have to hit this card. I think that's what that means. I really don't know what to make of this card. Aurora Borealis. Okay. Well, let's do that. can't really put a counter on a creature without killing it. Moon Shadow. Okay. I think I'm going to shuffle that. That's a good card. That got shuffled. They don't have a choice. Okay. Bam. I mean, I like both of these. Okay. It sucks that I'm kind of mana screwed on lands, but I should be fine. Come on, land. Like, I hate when this happens. It does happen more than you might think. But let's just do this here. I'm wondering if I should hit that thing first. I'm kind of thinking yes. 6/6 trample's still good though. Word 2. Overlord of the Balmerk. Okay, finally I draw another land. So if they have a choice, they can so they chose not to shuffle. Ready. Okay, fine. Let's see, what do they return? Vaspra. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Okay. Glad they're producing more stuff for me to kill. Well, they shuffled Nest of Scarabs away then. Okay. See if this baits out a removal spell. Because it does threaten to end the game. So 4 basics? Okay, good to know. Okay, good to know. Bottom, bottom, because We're just gonna okay. What did he return? What did he return? Ouroboros. Aurora Borealis. Okay. Aurora Borealis. Not me. Okay. I think I'm going to draw a card and farewell. Alrighty. Okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I can make 3 tokens, lose 2 life. Okay. They don't seem to have utility lands. And I just want to thin my deck. There we go. Although now I'm going to deck first. Maybe that was a mistake. Calling Ritual. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Slumbering Surge. I'll try Squeaker. 2, 3, minus X. Okay, let's do this. Alrighty. Let's see, 13, 14, 15, so I can create 3 tokens without losing a single life. Nice. Okay. So what's the takeaway? I think this is a matchup where Blast Zone is going to be better than Demolition Field. I think Settle the Wreckage, that was the most liable to rot in my hand. I would topple the statue, at least 2 of these. I'll just go up to 26 lands, why not? That is an option. I guess I'll avail myself of it. Oof. Ah, man. I think I can keep a hand like this. This is the dark side of 26 lands. Well, I'd probably have to mulligan it anyway, even if those 2 Blast Zones weren't in the deck. Alright, much better. Even with 26 lands, you don't know if you're going to draw all of them. Or when you're going to draw all of them. You just don't. You don't know. Slumbering Church, okay. Hope they don't thought seize me before I get this Day of Judgment off. I'm not sure why they wouldn't attack. Oy vey, like why? Let's do this. So, who knows, maybe I'll need the life gain to survive. Definitely bottom, definitely top. Crap. Suddenly I'm missing having that, definitely that. Okay. Probably hit this and that. Well, if they're going to attack like this, and this is the value of having Settle the Wreckage, is it puts in work even if you like literally don't have it in your hand. Oh, never mind. Maybe still, because they're not attacking with this. Okay. Bam. Okay. All right. Yeah, I definitely wanted to get full value out of that. Okay. 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 And definitely want to get full value out of this. Bam. We're gonna wait on. 180. Scarab thing, 678. Nice. Like this. Okay. Okay. Plains bottom. Get lost top. Okay. 5, 6, 7. Take it. Yeah, GG's, I guess. Well, anyway, this is where I sometimes wish I would catch this before, but maybe I'll check right at the start. Sometimes, I guess. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Whoa. I'm feeling lucky. Are you feeling lucky? Well, are you, bub? Hmm. Excuse me. Bottom, of course. Well, this might be a very quick game. Oh, very good, very good. Although if this is mono green, this might be a little brutal. Okay, looks like it's mono green. Definitely bottom. Okay, well that's good. I could try to hit that, but they're at the point where they're going to start slamming 3-drops anyway. So I'll just try to play for a big farewell. Okay. I'll probably eject this. I could get lost instead so they don't ramp, but eject is more mana efficient. I don't really think they play any artifacts. I kind of wish I had Erode here so I could draw a card too, but that's what it is. Okay, well, this means I get to... I still think I'm probably going to eject that. Bottom. Well, there's the Erode I was talking about. Well, let's do this, so we just hopefully draw a card. Let me draw a land. This hitting land drop is going to be important. There we go. For mana efficiency, I'll probably get lost. They do play some enchantments, but not enough to make me prioritize Erode over get lost. Okay. Yes, what is this? Mystic Forest. Put Kahora to hand. I guess that makes sense. Wait, they didn't put Kahora to hand. What did they put to hand? How much mana can they realistically produce? 4? It's not that far off from 3, but I am playing kind of an overabundance now of Demolition Fields, so I guess I might as well use them. Alrighty. Okay, well, that's a good hit. And I hit my 6 mana. Well, this is something at least. Alrighty. Should I avoid taking 7? No, I think I'll just farewell. I know it's a little risky to take 5 damage, but let's do it just because. Alright, not bad. Hitting land drops counts for something. Hopefully they don't just outright kill me with a thing. Interesting. I wonder what card they can even put on top of their library that would be that worrisome. Alright, that is what it is. Storm the festival, of course. I think there's only one forest here. What am I going to draw? A Castle Ardenvale. We're definitely going to erode that. Are they actually out of basics? They are. I guess might as well. Ooh, that's sassy. They can transform it too. Alrighty. Nice. I have heard it said in the past that High Noon can be good in this matchup, but I feel like not really. I feel like we won that because we just prevented them from going nuts with the card draw. Like High Noon kind of masks the problem. Like what, especially they are going to bring in artifact hate, and most green artifact hate also incidentally hits enchantments. So what's going to happen is, best case scenario, we slow them down for a bit, but they still end up putting an insane amount of cards in their hand. And eventually they draw artifact or enchantment removal and then remove it and then go nuts. Or I'm thinking the alternative is we end up 1-for-1ing with all their creatures. They never draw a single extra card off of their outlaw rider, outcast, whatever it's called, outlaster, whatever it's called, or Kahora, and it plays out like that last game. In which case High Noon did absolutely nothing other than just make us minus a card. So I know the appeal to High Noon in this matchup because it prevents them from going super nuts, but I feel like we can prevent them from going super nuts by just answering their must-answer stuff. And in that regard, pretty much all of our normal cards here are pretty sufficient to do the job if you think about it. Exile. I could have more graveyard hate, but I think we need all of these for Planeswalker hate. We need to maximize the sweepers. And March, yeah, we need get Candy Trail to smooth our draws. Also, March is one of our exile effects. So yeah, I think we're main boarded. And Erode is a big improvement for this matchup. Being less likely to get got by Kahora is frankly huge. It's always a good thing. Hello. Okay. Obviously, Kahira, I choose you. This hand is a bit more speculative than the last one, but it's got frickin' 3 sweepers. March Mazemind. I can't push it back. That last hand, it did work out, even though we had 1 land. You won't always win these kind of games, but we have to have faith that we built our deck in such a way that we, you know, hopefully. This could go very wrong very quickly. It really could. Well, hopefully we can deal with that. Yeah, things are going to go very bad very quickly if I can't. Uh-oh. 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 Still, that only produces 3, at least so far. But of course it can produce much more. If they, let's say... Okay. Too bad I don't have a road. Okay, well at least we have that. The problem here is I think I have to hit Kahora. And they can produce 3. There's not too much they can do just yet, so let's... And if I get got, I get got, but... Produce... Yeah, 3 mana. Okay, now they can produce 4 mana. Okay. Ouch. That's no good, to quote a certain hedgehog. Bottom, bottom. Alright, what I gotta do is I gotta get lost the Uvenwald, at least if it transforms. I really gotta hit a land. I think it's land or bust. Oh, whoa! Would have thought this hand got more mana screwed. Come on. I need edge land or bust, I think. Seems like bust to me. Seems like bust to me. What I need to do. I don't know why I'm whispering. I need to do this and this, I think. This and this. And then we better start drawing land. And then put 2 non-lands to the bottom. I'm surprised they didn't expect us to have this. Six. Okay. Needless to say, I have to hold up Erode. Probably should have tapped the 2 Demolition Fields, but it doesn't make a difference, I don't think. Surprised I didn't put it on this and then crack it, but it is what it is. All right, trophy time, I guess. That was way smoother than I ever remember Mono Green Devotion being. All right, well, there it was, 5-0. We ended up taking down Mono Green Devotion for the win there in the end, and yeah, that felt surprisingly smooth. Although I do have to say, especially one of those aggro matches, I think it was the third one. I can't remember if it's the first or the third, but I think it was the third. Just quite a barn burner there. I do have to say, probably one of the weakest links, so to speak, is the red matchup. There is this issue of having a hard time to metagame for basically mono red, black white Okiba / Monument, and Phoenix and Prowess. I haven't seen Prowess actually since Secrets of Strixhaven release, but I have to imagine it's still lurking around there somewhere. And maybe the Spellslinger sort of deck that doesn't actually play many Prowess creatures besides Quarry Steelcutter, but plays a lot of like counter magic and Divide by Zero and Grand and whatever you call that deck, which is easy to mistake for Prowess, but is very it has very, very different. Let's just say it's not a completely different deck, but it's a different deck essentially. Like it does play as a different deck, and it has different strengths and weaknesses, even though there is some overlap. Mostly, it's just way better against us for the most part, and it has a way better late game. I have to imagine though it's a lot slower, so it obviously has worse probably matchups against non-existent combo. So I'm not sure why you would even play Prowess, but there's got to be a reason. Probably because red just has sucky creature removal. So winning quickly is a way to account for... Yeah, actually, that's really what it is. But anyway, bottom line is being able to metagame for all these different decks is actually starting to become a problem, which is the same problem I have in Modern. Back when Phoenix dropped off, it helped out a lot because we could just substitute High Noon for Temporary Lockdown, which was way better against Prowess and Spellslingers. But now that Phoenix is back, we need High Noon. Since the problem with Temporary Lockdown is it does basically nothing against Phoenix. I mean, it does work against their Quarry Steelcutters, which they seem to be siding in at least some versions. Some versions I'm sure play at main deck, some play at side. But High Noon is good because it shuts down everything. It shuts down the Phoenix. It shuts down the Quarry Steelcutter. They have to answer it, or the whole deck just doesn't function. yeah, they have even less like stuff they can do than prowess under a High Noon. So anyway, that being said, High Noon is significantly worse against Spellslinger specifically. If it wasn't for that Spellslinger deck, that other similar to prowess but not prowess, more control-oriented blue-white version, I probably would have just stuck to High Noon anyway, just for the off chance you run into Phoenix again. But anyway, as long as that deck has dropped off the map, I guess High Noon is still overlaps some. And with Phoenix lurking around, Rest in Peace would be the more impactful card against them. But I am probably going to be sticking with Flanker for a while now, just because as the metagame diversifies, which is overall a good thing for the health. So like that's something to talk about. But as long as the metagame is diversified and continues to diversify, I think cards like Flanker are going to continue to be a premium unless some like combo-oriented deck that just absolutely got to answer their graveyard by turn 2, because this is turn 3 at the earliest, sometimes turn 4 if you got to spend a turn, using a field to get a white mana, then it's turn 4. Whereas Relic is always, well, when I say Relic, I mean Lantern of the Lost is always active turn 2, because unfortunately you have to pay 1 and then pay 1 to crack it, and it's always usable on turn 2 regardless of even if you have a white source, since you can crack it into colorless. So for pure graveyard sake, that's obviously better, but it's just Flanker being able to cover the bases of life gain and graveyard hate, and the other base of just being another beater, and that Scry 2 is no joke either. It's not. It's almost kind of like draw a card. So it has been said before that Scry 2 is almost good as draw a card. It's actually not, because if you think about it, would you pay like 1 blue mana Scry 2, and is that really the same thing as 1 blue mana draw a card like a cantrip? Everybody knows in their heart of hearts, of course not. But it gives you a rough guide. I'd say it's probably worth Scry is probably worth 25% of a card. A lot of times people say it's half a card. I think it's 20. I think it's like a quarter of a card. So Scry 2 is probably worth like half a card. There's still a limit to that logic though. Like, would you pay 1 blue Scry 4? I'm guessing not, because there is 1 blue mana Surveil 3 that whatever you call it, I forget what that card's called, but there is a 1 blue instant Surveil 3, and it even has flashback, and that card would be nuts if because Surveil is better than Scry for the most part. If Scry 2 is equivalent to 1 card, which it's not, then certainly 1 blue mana Surveil 3 which is better than Scry and is almost like Scry 4. I would say Surveil 3 maybe is roughly equal to Scry 4. So like that's the thing, actually. There's just kind of a limit to this, but let's just say Scry 2 is still very valuable. Even though it's you can't actually 1-for-1 it with card advantage, but it is very, very useful still nonetheless, even though like you probably wouldn't play you probably wouldn't even pay 1 blue mana Scry 4 or even Surveil 4. Certainly not if it had flashback. It's just not the same as like actually replacing the card in your hand. But that being said, there's also a big difference, I think, between attaching it to a card and just being a pure cantrip type effect. But it is an interesting thought experiment. And honestly, Topple the Statue, I might be looking for ways to I might actually be looking for more universal type answers. What was I trying to say? Yeah, I might be searching for more. For the thing is, like, this card is just so good against Okiba. The problem is I really don't find myself bringing this in against almost any other matchup. But you can and will get got by Okiba. But maybe not. Maybe you won't get got by Okiba. Actually, it's kind of not a sure thing. So I'm almost tempted. I certainly think instead of Blast Zone we should have the question is, do we want Lockdown or do we want Pinnacle Stargate? The issue with Lockdown is it's a bit of a non-bow with High Noon. That being said, both of these are just so impactful that you may just want. It's possible you might want two Lockdowns. I mean, 2 Topple the Statues. Anyway, this is very subject to change. The 75. I think Flanker is the only card that's probably going to be a lock for the foreseeable future. Again, unless some super fast graveyard deck pops out where we need to answer immediately. But now that Okiba actually was one of those decks, kind of like that. Except now that we have Erode, we actually have more ability to interact early. That doesn't necessarily require graveyard interaction. So High Noon, of course, could change depending on if that Phoenix deck sticks or falls off. But yeah, I might be looking for another card to that perhaps is a little, perhaps is like, yeah. I wonder if there's a card that like there is that 2 white destroy X artifacts or enchantments or gain twice X life. There, I could play that, but I'm almost I don't know. But it's also possible just playing Topple the Statue is the way to go. But I am kind of thinking maybe we do need temporary lockdown just because I am sure I'm going to run into prowess and it's really, and also like mono red like we saw. I guess flanker did help in the mono red matchup, but I can't help but think that temporary lockdown might still be even better than mono red than flanker. So I don't know. Maybe we don't need lockdown. It's a tough call. It's a tough call. Or maybe just 2 lockdowns. That's a little weird. It's weird to, I don't know. I'll look for. A suitable replacement. I guess I could just hedge. Oh, I sold my Stargates. I didn't even know they were that expensive. Huh. Star. No, here it is. Isn't that cool? Oh, Star Cage, not Stargate. Okay. So I could just play 2 of these just as a slight hedge. This can also, very late in the game, just be pure removal. So there is something to be said about that. And I guess if you have 11 mana, that's a lot of mana. If you have 11 mana, you can play it and then immediately exile. You know, there's something to be said about that. I don't know. I'll probably look for another suitable replacement, but until then, you know, hey, and we are technically near the top of the trophy leaderboard now. We actually technically I think are on top, even though there's really only like as of right now there's only 2 other people, and we're tied at only 1 trophy. But there's no other trophies in Pioneer right now, so that's cool. But anyway, thanks to the patrons, Jacob Bortone, Kasi Nibenlina, Toby Kremer, Alex Korthauer, Big Mamu, Paul Nguyen, Adrian King, Erwin Lopez, and Michael Patton. Again, until next time, I think, yeah, take care.